Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Android Central Podcast. It's episode number 92 for Friday, April 6th, 2012. We're doing a rare Friday show because I was on the road Thursday for very important reasons, which we shall talk about here in a second. I'm Phil Nickinson, your host of the podcast, editor of Android Central, and blah, blah, blah. You know all this. This week we got Jerry Hildenbrand from the site.
Hola!
And we got Alex Doby over in England, who is probably beside himself because it's not like 3 in the morning there right now.
It is. It's 9 in the evening. It's very reasonable.
Are you just waking up?
No, I'm doing pretty good today. I've been up for a while.
Are you getting ready to go out to the discotheque, or what do you kids do in England?
No, I'm just sitting around drinking tea. So.
Oh yeah, that sounds more like it. Oh, nice mug. That's cool. I like that. If you can't see it, you need to watch the video because we do cool things like talk about mugs Alex uses to drink tea. Are you having crumpets?
Maybe I am. Maybe they're out of shop. I'll leave that to your imagination.
I like crumpets, actually.
Pretty good.
They're pretty good. They're kind of like...
I knew a crumpet. Oh, wait, that was a strumpet. Wait, I'm confused.
What? All right, so let's talk some Android smartphones. We've had quite the week. I was saying we don't even have a script for this, so we're kind of playing it all by ear, but I think we're going to be able to do just fine. So, the embargo lifted early in the wee hours Monday morning for the HTC One X and the HTC One S. I've been using them for, 2 weeks now, and I'm in love. Yeah, and Alex finally has one too. If you haven't been in the forums yet checking these out, we've had just some awesome forum discussions going on the One X and the One S, and to an even greater extent, this other HTC phone we'll talk about in a minute. So, Alex, I want to get your thoughts. I've been using this for a while. You've been asking about it. Alex has been pissed it took him so long to get one. He's like, yelling at me.
At some point.
All right, so talk to me about the One S. Tell me what you love. Now, the One S, or the One X, excuse me. The One X, in case you don't remember, that's the pinnacle of the HTC One line, 4.7 inches, single piece of polycarbonate, really good 8-megapixel camera, excellent display, excellent Super LCD too. So, Alex, in a nutshell, or did I just totally steal that from you?
Kind of. No, you tell you what, this phone sucks. I hate this phone. It might suck. It sucks because it's ruined the Galaxy Nexus for me. There's no way I'm going to be able to go back to that now. It's just that good. And yeah, everything pretty much just trumps the Galaxy Nexus on this. And the only thing I've really had trouble with is the battery life, which maybe is getting fixed. So we'll have to see about that. But it's good. It's probably the best Android phone you can buy. And it's kind of amazing looking back at the Galaxy Nexus now and seeing in 4 months how much things have moved on.
I don't disagree with any of that. I'm not sure if it makes we did a hangout while I was in New York the other night with Jerry and some other people, like late at night. And the more I was thinking about it, it's not necessarily that it makes the Galaxy Nexus any worse. I just don't think. I think it exposes the flaws of the Galaxy Nexus. Somebody on Google Plus was pissed. How dare I compare the One X with the Galaxy Nexus because it's really not fair. And it's more than a little ridiculous because there's no way you're not going to compare like the first.
Yeah, that's two phones that you couldn't go and buy.
Exactly. It's like I don't care if they're on two different tiers. That's not my fault.
I think they are on two different tiers, though. To be honest,
maybe half a tier.
High-end phones.
Yeah, maybe half a tier. But I think that's going to have as much to do with development cycle as anything else. I mean, something has to be first, and what comes after it is almost always going to be better just on principle, right? Where's my Galaxy Nexus?
And Nexus phones have never been about all the very best hardware. There's always been some compromise. We're dealing with sort of half this year's tech, half last year's tech, and that's just because of when they're released during the year.
What it really shows is something we knew anyway, and that is that the Galaxy Nexus camera really hasn't been all that great. I mean, it never has been. And remember, we said that before. We said that after Mobile World Congress, and HTC says, "Hey, this camera's awesome. You know, it's the best camera ever." And I said, "You know what? I hope it is. I want to try it first. Not that I think you're lying to me, but I've heard this before recently, and we need to get out and try it in the real world." Alex has been trying to rain on my parade on the HTC One camera a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't think it's great. And maybe that's because I've been spoiled with the Xperia S, but I think it's not the kind of camera where you can look at it and it's perfect in every situation like Sony's cameras are. There are issues there. There's graininess and overcompensation for noise in images, and there are some issues with video and low light. But it's still leaps and bounds beyond anything else we've ever had from HTC before, and it's still a very good camera in its own right.
Low light, I agree. It's not great, and it has that separate low light section that's okay. But for me, I mean, this is probably the best camera I've used easily since the Galaxy S2 line. How does it compare to the Sony stuff you've used, Alex? Because you've spent more time with that.
Yeah, Sony beats it, I think, and that's no surprise. Such cameras have always been one of Sony's big strengths. The Xperia S now is a 12 megapixel camera. They've always been really good with low light, and they've got their Exmor tech, which is based on their line of digital cameras. So it's no surprise that something that's in a phone doesn't really compare to that. But I mean, if you're comparing the two, then okay, the Xperia S has the better camera, but I mean, the camera aside, everything else about the One X pretty much just smokes it. That's pretty much just the way it goes.
The shutter speed is it's great. I actually almost have to turn I need to turn the shutter sound back on because it takes it so quickly. I can't always tell. And normally,
you have to watch the little icon, don't you, to see when it's actually taken anything.
Right, and normally I, just turn it off because it's annoying. But, it's good. The gallery app is really good. I'm in love with Sense. If you couldn't tell from our Sense 4 walkthrough, I really think they did a nice job with Sense, and not so much that they did a nice job with Sense itself, but it's what they didn't do. They didn't overload the UI. They didn't overload the experience. It looks and feels like Ice Cream Sandwich. It really does. Just with a few extras. Now, there are actually some things they've done that I don't like, and I'm going to do a separate post maybe over the weekend on that. But for the most part, they're all actually really little things and things that I can work around that don't really affect daily use of the device itself.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, it's what they haven't done. It's the way they've sort of taken a step back from what they were doing in Sense 3 with loads of 3D stuff, loads of features.
Right.
And I think if you're the kind of person that didn't like that, definitely give Sense another look. And I even went on a bit of a rant in that thing that I put up today, that article on the second look, and just saying stop complaining about Sense. It's a new Sense this time around, and it's just because it is an ice cream sandwich. It isn't stock ice cream sandwich. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. And just
I think it's better
judge it based on what it is, not what it isn't.
I think it's better. I understand people will miss some of the kind of robotics. I can call them robotics. The colors, the Tron colors.
Yeah, and
I don't. I mean, I actually think it looks better in Sense.
It's just different. It isn't. Yeah. The look isn't better or worse. It's just different. And I think people sometimes put stock Android on a pedestal.
Absolutely.
Just because it's where it originally came from. But yeah, it's good.
I like it. It's really good. I'm trying to think what else. All right, let's talk battery life for a little minute, because that's one of the things I actually hedged a little bit in the review, and here's why. We have the European version of the One X and the One S here. We've all, and it's not quite released software. It's close. And we've actually, so a couple things. One is we used this thing for a week, and everybody who was using it was seeing some really horrible battery life, and to the point where we were pretty sure it was buggy. There was something going on. Turns out there was a bad certification in the HEPS that was causing the phone to try to ping that server all the time, and obviously that's not good for battery. So they got that fixed. That was a server-side fix, which was actually really cool. Did require us to hard reset the device, but we're testing, so these things happen. So that was a good fix. And then we also got a software update that was supposed to clean some things up. We'd seen some small bugs in the UI a little bit, so it's fixed all that. So then actually the embargo date got moved. Give you a little inside baseball to give us more time with that, and to really kind of get a better feel and make sure everything's going well. And so there's that. But the other issue is, this is not an AT&T optimized phone, right? And I know we talk a lot about radios and how these things quite often hold up updates. This is one of those cases where you just kind of get a feeling that it could be a little better than it is. And this is going really for all of us who have been, using these. And I was with a bunch of people at this Sprint HTC event the other night too, and we were all talking about it, and we all pretty much said the same thing. So that's why I've been a little hesitant on battery. Now that said, as I'm sitting here at my desk working all day, I'm getting like 14, 15 hours of it on Wi-Fi just all day, which is kind of badass.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what I'm getting now on it because what I have on here, I understand, is what you had before. I think it's the same software version you had before, and it is final release software. As in, it's the stuff that's actually going out now. So yeah, 49%, 6 hours, 31 minutes. So I guess you're looking about 13, 14 total.
Right.
And that's on Wi-Fi all day, so it's okay. And the first, I think there is a certain amount of sort of settling in time that you're going to need with a new phone, a new battery. Because I mean, for the first day or so, I was getting really dreadful battery life, and after a few charges, it started to pick up. So,
again, if you don't know, this thing does not have a removable battery, and that's a big deal. It's going to change the way you use the phone a little bit, especially if you travel. And that was my big thing running up to New York and back on Wednesday and Thursday was how is it going to handle it? Little pro tip: don't try to do a Google Hangout in Bryant Park in the middle of the day on 3G, because it's just going to kill the battery. The other thing we need to talk about in regards to these phones are the processors. So Alex and I have the LTE, or not the, I keep calling it the LTE version. We have the Tegra 3 version, the quad-core Tegra 3 version. AT&T is going to have dual-core Qualcomm processor. Crate is the other word you hear with it, but it's also Snapdragon, so whatever. And I tell you, I did benchmarks. We actually published benchmarks of the 1S or 1X, and I'm kind of regretting it a little bit. I kind of regret going back on our benchmarks are lame, we're not going to do them anymore thing. Jerry, am I wrong about that?
Nope, not a bit.
No, I mean, should we go back to not doing? Let's decide right now. Should we go back to not doing benchmarks?
I would be happy if we never did one again, ever.
I think
they don't tell people what they really need to know.
Yeah, I think I got caught up just in the whole, hey, we've got this cool phone, let's give people what they want to see thing. And I'm already seeing more stories of people saying, oh, here it is. We've got to benchmark it. We got to compare it to the dual core because, hey, it's got 2 more cores. And it's like, oh, you're doing so much more to...
I think it doesn't... It really doesn't matter which one you have, and so much of the responsiveness is in the software, not the hardware. So,
right.
The only thing benchmarks are really going to affect is gaming performance.
Gaming performance and
any other differences, yeah.
Right, and maybe video output. And at that point, it's like in daily use for the way most people use their phones all the time, you're not going to notice. And I don't really notice in the difference between the 1X and the 1S. And we still need more time with these 1S devices on actual networks that we can use them on and to see how it handles. Because that's the other thing, especially when you're talking system on a chip, right? Because you've got the cell radios are built into those too, right? Or am I wrong? Yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So on that S4, I believe everything is built into one chip, including Wi-Fi and GPS.
Right. So like we've got the S4 here on the HTC One S. We've got the Qualcomm chip in here. But we don't have T-Mobile frequencies, so we can't do proper 3G data on here. So we've still got a long ways to go, and that's a real reason why we hesitated in doing just a full-blown HTC One S review. And we're going to do one, and it'll hopefully be Alex, because frankly, I'm tired. and I want Alex to write some more about these, because he does an awesome job. Let's talk about the One S. I've got it. Here it is. This thing is so sexy. It feels so good in the hand. 4.3 inches, so is it turned on? Let me turn it. Yeah, it's turned on. 4.3 inches, so it's smaller than the 1X, but it feels so much better. Let me put it in front of it, and you can see just how much smaller it is. Not greatly so, but I have small hands, so it really does feel better in the hand. 7.8 millimeters thick, or thin. Not quite as thin as the Droid Razr, which still holds the record, I think. But that doesn't bother me. I mean, 7/10 of a millimeter. So
you're saying you're having some issues with the coating maybe rolling off the back of it?
I'm a little worried about that. Yeah, I've got a couple marks on here. I think because it was.
We noticed that at NWC. We played with demo events on the last day, demo units on the last day, and even those were starting to pick up a few knocks on the side. So I know they do, but more so than other phones that we played with.
Yeah, it was in my pocket with some keys, and I think it actually picked up like some oxidation off a key or something. So it's a little marred would be the word I use. So I'm worried about that over time, and I tell you, I especially worry about stuff like that over time now because I have, the Thunderbolt. And traditionally HTC phones have been really good. Had the Thunderbolt, and the damn thing just fell apart. So I'm a little gun shy. And I don't think it's going to be because of like negligence on HTC's part. I think they designed the hell out of this. And I really can't stress how good it feels in the hand. It really, really feels good. I might have to just open an actual US T-Mobile account just to get one of these because it feels that good. Instead of having a separate battery, I might just use that as a separate phone.
Well, what about what about the screen on that? Because that's the one thing we haven't really touched on. It's Super AMOLED, it's Pentile, and it's QHD. So
right.
It's a big step down from the One X.
I don't want to call it a big step down, but it's a step down. It's absolutely a step down. Or maybe going to 720p Super LCD 2 is just that big a step up. How about we do it that way?
Super LCD 2 is very, very, very nice. So
it is.
There's that as well.
It is. And I've talked to people at HTC, and I've seen them speaking publicly on Twitter about all this too. Like, it's really, it can be tough when you have them side by side. If you're only using the 1S and that's what you're used to, it's going to look okay. It's going to look just fine. I don't think you're going to buy the 1S and be miserable with it. I think if you see the two side by side, you're going to easily know which one is better, period. And, same thing with the GeneX, right? It's very much the same effect when you're jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
But you're not going to, want to throw yourself off a building because you're using this poor QHD Super AMOLED display. And I think the thinness of this device and the way it feels more than makes up for that. Still has the great camera. It has a slightly smaller battery. So, it's, 1650, I think. That's something you have to deal with. Still does not have removable storage. This little back does pop off, though. But, see, there's a hole in it, so the camera lens is still a part of the phone. So if you scratch something up, you're in trouble there. Yeah, I like it. I really do. I want the T-Mobile one. I want, proper 3G on it. That's it? You guys got nothing?
No, in fact, one of us has absolutely nothing. Cry.
Are you gonna get one, Jerry?
I was gonna.
It depends. If they show up on the bootloader unlock list the day before they're sold, yeah, I'll get one. If not, nope, no buy.
Well, they haven't done. Have they unlocked anything like day of?
Nope.
I think
why I
they haven't
bought
put it on the
any
list
HTC
on the day of launch, but they have been unlockable on the day of launch if you put your IMEI in.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's just stupid Jerry. That's just how I am.
Well, and then you're going to be.
How have you found battery life on the S then, Phil?
I don't know, and that's again, for the same reasons as the 1X, but even more so because I don't have proper 3G on it, so that's really tough to test. It is what it is. It's not bad, I guess, but it's really hard to tell. So, that's that. But damn, it feels good. It feels so good. So you've got two versions. We've got the micro arc oxidized one. Yeah.
Now that's the one you have, right?
Yes. And then there's also a polycarbonate one. But oh man, it's so
is it
thin.
polycarbonate?
Is it poly? I forget what it is. Or soft touch, or
I thought it was the same kind of thing as the Sensation, where it was some kind of metal. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I used it for about 5 seconds at MWC, so I don't really know.
I did a post on it. It had a more traditional paint job, is what I remember being told. Okay. No, it's good. It is a really good phone, and I would not look down on anyone who bought it at all. At all. I might go buy one just because.
So you're edging towards the S, not the X?
No. The X is just that display is just.
So yeah.
And I tell you, the number one thing about this display for me, you can use it outside. It doesn't look gorgeous outside.
Oh yeah.
It's totally usable. I was at the beach all this morning with the kids, and I can use it there at the beach in full sun, and it works. So.
Which color are you going for?
I've got the black one here. I don't know. I might go. I'm thinking maybe white. Well, that might be all I get on AT&T actually.
Yeah, I'm just kind of paranoid of getting the white one because I think it's going to pick up, dirt and knocks and stuff so much more. So much more than the other one.
The camera lens does scare the hell out of me on the X. I'm absolutely already kind of scratching it up some.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one has a few scratches on it, just from a few days of use.
The S just looks and feels like it'll scratch a little bit less, maybe. Yeah.
But no, the body. I was looking. The body of the X is supposed to be scratch resistant.
Yes, I'm really
I guess that's the same as water resistant, where it's probably just
exactly
doesn't really mean it.
Exactly. Yeah, it is what it is. So those are those. I guess the other thing I went to this week, so the thing I went to in New York this week was an HTC Sprint event, and that's where we learned about the HTC EVO 4G LTE. It's a new name, it's a new phone, same line. Jerry, are you excited about this one? Because you're an old Sprint guy.
I think it's a damn nice phone.
I hear a butt coming.
I don't know. Well, no. I'm not sure what else might be coming for Sprint throughout the year, but I kind of get the feeling that we've seen the best phone for Sprint this year already, and it's that 4G LTE. I think it's really going to make a lot of people happy.
There is a lot of gnashing of teeth. If you haven't been in our EVO 4G LTE forums yet, it's just insane, and I need to get back in there because we've had some really good Q&As going on. People are upset that it looks different than the One X, and people are upset that it's got this glossy thing on it, this glossy plastic instead of something more matte. And when I say they're upset, I mean like they're ready to go kill people. They're ready to pick up an axe, follow you home, and chop off your hands for making this thing. It's bizarre, and everybody needs to calm down a little bit. On the other hand, there are a whole lot of people who say, you know what, this thing looks great. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. My take on it is, and I did a post yesterday. I did a post on Thursday. It's the X. Look, Sprint's not going to call it the X. And in fact, we're sitting here at this event, and Dan Hesse's going through his thing. Sprint people and the HTC people are all giving their spiel. And those of us who are at Mobile World Congress are all sitting next to each other saying, you know what? We've heard this before. It's the X. Look at the specs side by side. It's the X. And you know what? It's better than the X. I will go that far to say it. It is. Yep. It is better. It has removable storage. It has a slightly larger battery. It's going to have all the stuff that Sprint throws into, including official Google Wallet. I can't get Google Wallet on my One X right now, and I haven't done a hacked version because I'm kind of against that this week. Yeah.
Well, nothing was taken away,
right?
And things were added.
Well, people will say that the design was taken away.
That's bullshit. The design was changed.
Yeah.
It's Sprint's phone.
Right.
It's supposed to look like Sprint's phone.
Exactly.
It's supposed to look like an Evo.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought when I saw it is, if you're on the subway and you see somebody playing Angry Birds, you're going to know right away they've got that new Evo.
We're 2 years out of the original Evo. Can you believe it's been 2 years, by the way? And
yeah.
It's a continuation of probably the best. Do you think that's probably the best selling Android phone? I mean, that or the Droid, the original Droid, I guess. But I would argue.
I think it's a toss up.
And they're different phones on different networks, so I get that. But
the Evo really changed things. Look what the Evo brought. Big screens, front-facing cameras. The Evo was a big deal. Whether it sold the most or not, it was still a very big deal.
Right.
It was 4G phone, wasn't it? I think
it was. It was the very first 4G phone with WiMAX. Didn't have the world's greatest camera. Didn't have the world's greatest battery life, but it was a beast. And I think it's still our highest selling. Not phone, but like accessories from the accessory side. I think that phone is still number one.
Well, Phil, I know some people that are involved in sales, even though it's, a dead phone on Sprint, they're not manufacturing anymore. They still sell every one of them they can get in stores.
Right.
So people still want it.
This is a good continuation. The 4G LTE is a very good continuation. Now, we don't know when we're actually going to get it, right? We have pricing. It's going up for pre-order. What was it, May 7th? May 6th? I forget.
7th, yeah.
a couple $100 on contract, which is good. So, we're not going to get it before then, obviously. Probably not for at least a week or two after that, at least. Because you got to give pre-sales some time to soak in. And that's, you would think we would have it by June, right? Because that's going to get us into, I guess by the end of June would be the latest, because that gets us into the first half of the year, and that's when the LTE network is supposed to be up and running.
It would make a lot of sense to get it in the first part of June.
Right.
And I guess they want to sell some Galaxy Nexus in the meantime, don't they? Because that's coming in, probably before the EVO.
Probably.
Well, the other thing, the first week of June, a big thing happens. There's 1.7 million EVO owners whose contract is up for renewal.
Right.
That's true, yeah.
It is a really good phone. It's got all the same bells and whistles from Sense 4 and Android 4. Something. Did you see that? I think we finally put the post up today. So one of the first things I went to do when we got our hands on with this is I went to check and see exactly what version of Android it was. And in the About screen, it says Android version protected. Now, I mean, I could see them like just putting 4.0.x or something. I've never seen one just be like, give you the finger and be like, no, we're not going to tell you what it's running. That was pretty good. I got a good laugh out of that.
I like that. That was a good idea.
It's mysterious.
F you, Phil and Jerry.
That's how we got all these stories about Android 2.4, wasn't it, last year?
You're right. Yeah, and 2.4 was only on the Desire S or whatever. I forget what it was.
It was on some random Sony phone, wasn't it, or something like that?
No, I'm thinking 2.3.4 maybe. There was one in
that actually existed.
There was there was one that we caught at Mobile World Congress last year that was only on like one particular HTC phone, and I forget what it was. And that's why that goes back to our conversation last week of not freaking out too much about one Galaxy Nexus getting 4.0.4 when one might get 4.0.5 or whatever. It happens. That it's just versioning. It's not a big deal. But where was I? It's got all the Sense 4 bells and whistles. It's got the same camera. It'll have, probably some of the Sprint bloatware because it's gonna. But, this is a good phone. This is a good phone. Jerry's gonna get one. Don't listen to him when he says he's not. He's totally gonna get one.
Yeah, I mean, I battle myself on that kind of stuff. I definitely want a phone that I'm happy to use and has a good camera, so I don't have to carry around two phones. But I'm gonna poke around and look, and that the 1S or possibly even the EVO LTE, one of the two, are definitely gonna get looked at.
Kind of want it. I kind of like the two-tone glossy / soft touch. Actually, it's nice.
So do I. I mean, I think it looks really good, and with that red anodized kickstand in the middle.
Oh, I haven't put up the video. I actually did a video to go with the comparison to the L1X, and I haven't put it up because, frankly, I didn't do a very good job with it. and part of that is me trying to figure out how to open that damn kickstand, because actually I shot the video on my first time picking up the phone. Right? And I'm like fumbling with it, and it's so well designed, you can't quite tell just by glancing at it like where it opens up. It doesn't look like it's this gaudy thing sitting there that's meant to prop up the phone. It's an actual design point. And that's something HTC said during the course of the event was we had this big red band there that visually separates the glossy top section from the soft touch bottom section. And we did that on purpose. And HTC has always had kind of big, bold design cues like that. The 1S has it here. Peel the back off, and you've got this black phone and then this Ferrari red interior for, the top inch of it. And that's pure HTC. So when you see that, when you see that on the Sprint version of the 1X, you know it was done on purpose. It's a really well-designed phone. If you're worried about the design, here's what I'm going to tell you. Go to shopandroid.com, buy a case, buy 2 cases. Buy 3 cases. Buy 3 cases. It's been a slow year. I was talking to the store guys about that today because, it's so easy to kind of just put a skin over it. You talk about skinning Android. Skin your damn phone. Put a case on it, protect your phone, and make it look a little different. So, I think people are getting just way too upset about the way it looks. That's me. No removable battery either, though. So that's still the way it is. Sorry.
But I've got a couple extra batteries for phones I've got here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll bet I could count the times I've actually sat down and removed my battery on one hand.
Only time I do it is when I'm on the road. When I'm traveling, it shows. And I understand that's a different usage case than, a lot of people. On the other hand, there are a lot of travelers too. I mean, my thing is it takes away the option, and that's what makes it a little tough. But
it's a design decision, isn't it? It allows you to the fact that it's all encased and it lets you have a slimmer phone that doesn't necessarily rely on having weak points all the way around the back, where you've got to have a battery that can go in and out.
Right.
Same size as a battery. Of course, this one's made for the iPhone. You plug it in, 30 minutes later, your battery's 60% charged.
Yeah, and you
can use it while it's plugged in.
I need to invest in some new ones because I've got this old one I've been using for a couple years now, and I need to play. I think we've got some in the store too. Maybe I'll check some of those out before I go buying any. It's a good phone. It is a good phone. So what we need to talk about this HD voice thing. And I listened to the thing the other night. I checked it out. I was like, all right, you know what? It sounds cool, but that's another one of those things that, like, I'm really not going to believe it until I try it myself,
right.
on my network where I live in my conditions. And so a couple of really good pieces this morning. One, Russell Hawley did one on geek.com and another one on Extreme Tech explaining what this, HD voice is. And something I didn't realize and nobody mentioned at the time is you're not going to have this anywhere till like late next year because it's all really network side on Sprint's part. And they have to, update gobs of stuff to get it to work. So it's not just a thing on the phone. They have to change things on the tower to do it. It has to do with the spectrum and how things are being converted. And really, I'll try to remember to put links in the show notes. A couple of really interesting reads on how it works. So I kind of don't care. I mean, I guess it sounds better. But A, I don't make that many voice calls. B, if it ain't going to be here for a long time, then why are you telling me about it now? It's not going to make me buy the phone. The phone itself is what's going to make me buy this phone.
I guess it's a bullet point to have, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's better
to stick on the back of the box.
It's better to have than not, but
yeah.
What were you going to say, Jerry?
Oh, you can hear the pin drop again now.
Hey, it was cool to see them go back to that. They went back to their pin drop.
I was so wanting Candice Bergen to come out on stage after that. That would have just made us old timers laugh.
It was a good event. Sprint and HTC, whenever they get together, it's a good time. Good to see Mr. Hesse again, even for just a couple minutes. Trying to think if there's anything else about the phone that really stood out. So it's got the Media Link stuff. Like everything else, we need to play with that some more. It's got Wi-Fi Direct built in. I mean, everything you expect to be there is there. NFC, it's the way it should be. So that is the HTC EVO 4G LTE. Can't wait. Maybe I'll let Jerry review it.
Well, that'd be mighty nice of you.
We gotten any good Galaxy S3 leaks lately?
Nope.
There's no such thing as a good Galaxy S3 leak.
Alex said something to me the other day that made more sense than anything I've heard in a long time. This man is smart. Listen to him. He says, wait a minute. You get a lot of these invites. How many of these invites for unannounced phones have ever included the name of the phone in the invite?
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's the fact we've had so many of these over the past month. The fact that it references the Galaxy S2 and claims to show the Galaxy S2 the Galaxy S3 is in itself probably reason to doubt that it's genuine because it's just because the sheer volume of fakes. No. I still have no idea when it's coming, where it's coming, but no. Stop it. And if you keep and if you're out there and you're still reporting on these damn things, shame on you too. Find something better to do. It's gotten just ridiculous. It's pathetic. In fact, I hope Samsung uses an entirely different name just to screw up the SEO for everybody. That would be awesome.
Sweet, yeah, it would.
Let me see
the EVO LTE was supposed to be the EVO 1, wasn't it?
Right.
That was the name right until hours before the event.
All the rumored names for the Sprint EVO have, proven to be wrong.
Well, This thing was the Edge, the Endeavor, and the Supreme before it was released.
Right. It is the Endeavor. That is the official code name. The official code name for the AT&T one is the Avito. We saw that on the guy who was posting the benchmarks in our forums. So we know those, and we know. I can tell you the 1S is the Vil. No, is it? What was the other one? Yeah. The 1S is the Vil. I forget the one the V is.
The international one is the Vil. I don't know what the T-Mobile one is.
Right. So that'll be different, and that's not unusual. That's the way it works. I forget what. Let me see what the 1V is, because I just don't remember. And I'm still waiting to really get our hands on that. Yeah.
Non-existent. That's what the 1V is.
The 1V was the Primo.
Yeah, and apparently it's out in parts of Asia.
Right.
Apparently.
Yeah, no, I saw Sasha Pallenberg got one.
It's going to be a slow launch, and I think it's going to be probably quite low-key compared to the rest of it.
Right. No.
Well, yeah, but here in the States, the rumors, of course, that's going to launch on a couple of prepaid carriers.
Wouldn't surprise me.
If people can get that quality of a device on a prepaid network, that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Remember, who was it that got the original Legend?
U.S. Cellular.
Yeah,
because they got the Desire, didn't they, way back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I reviewed that here, and it was a great phone. Really feels good. Glad to see it back. So I can't wait to play with it some more. Anything else we want to talk about? What am I forgetting?
Crazy goggles?
Yes, Google Glass is finally public. And it's funny because people have already forgotten the difference between a prototype product that actually exists and has been built and something that you can actually buy and might actually be sold. Like, folks are talking about this like it's something, it's horrible, it's never going to work. And I mean, it's good to talk about that stuff, but it's like, this is so early in the process. This is why things are usually kept under wrapped, just because. I don't know. What do you guys think of the idea? Having seen them, and I guess we've seen pictures of, was it Larry or Sergey? Sergey, I think, has been running around in public wearing them.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting idea. It obviously looks very cool. It's very futuristic, but there are a whole, crap load of issues that we're going to have to deal with. How they got everything so small inside? Is it going to be standalone? If it is, then how have they managed to fit everything in that they need to power this in something that's probably about this big that fits on the side of your head? Mm-hmm. You've got battery life concerns, to power all these radios. You've got security. How are you going to stop people just running up to you and grabbing it off your face? You've got all the health stuff as well. Do you want cellular radios strapped to your face? How is it going to affect your eyesight if you've got it on 24/7 in the corner of your vision? So all these issues, and also what's the use case? So what makes it better than a phone? And what does it do better than the phone beyond the fact that it's just hands-free? And if it is hands-free, then, well, how do you control it? Is it voice-activated? And if it is voice-activated, then have they got that kind of technology to where it needs to be to be accurate 99% of the time?
I think they're probably still figuring out a lot of that, right? I mean, they're getting the hardware figured out.
And that's why it's not on sale right now, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It's interesting. I'm not going to get upset about it because it's so early, and to see people just panning this thing because they can, it's like, okay. I mean, whatever.
It's an easy target, isn't it? It's like when the iPad came out. It's a device. It's an easy target for
Exactly. Hey, what else? Instagram for Android.
One of the best trolling opportunities of the year so far.
My God, these Apple people are, I mean, look, we already know Apple people are a little nuts, but wow. I mean, they're pretty pissed off.
Well, some of them are pretty pissed off. A vocal minority of them are pretty pissed off. There's 30 million people using Instagram.
Right.
Okay, but some of this vocal minority are very well-read and semi-respected bloggers with hundreds of thousands of followers that are getting on Twitter making an ass of themselves. And I won't say his name, but F you, man. Don't play that way.
As opposed to the rest of us who get on Twitter and make fools of ourselves.
Okay, I have no problem with making a fool of yourself, but that's just No, that was just, it smacked of racism, elitism, class warfare, and it was absolute bullshit. And I enjoyed every minute of trolling back. All the hate I got was well deserved, and I hope I pissed somebody off so much that they actually broke their iPhone.
Isms, in my opinion, are not good. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't care. I don't think it's a particularly good app. I think as an Android, like I get the social aspect of it, and I get
and the social aspect's cool.
Yeah, but
to use it and to make it go on.
No, it's kind of unnecessary in the scheme of Android sharing. As coming from an iPhone side, it makes sense, right? The iPhone has just a boring camera that did nothing for so long. The Android, especially now with what we haven't since, but Android cameras have been better. Samsung's been doing a better one for a long time. Motorola has too. Android sharing is much better. You can't share these directly to Google Plus yet. You can share them, through the traditional intents. But as an app, it's just not very good. It's not particularly well designed, especially for Android.
It doesn't work on some devices.
It doesn't work on it doesn't work on
cameras
on some devices, which is bad. I mean, I guess I'm glad we finally have it. It's very popular. People want to use it. But I tell you, if I want to put filters on my camera, on my pictures, you can use third-party apps already to do that. You can do it directly in Sense now. I'm willing to bet the other manufacturers are building it in too. I'm just not going to use it. I have this really good camera here. The last thing I want to do is dumb it down into a 1:1 ratio and put a filter on it. I want it to be big and beautiful and wide and colorful, just like me.
Yeah, but no, to be fair, that's not the idea behind the app. It's the pictures, I think, are just a small part of it, and the sharing is the big deal there.
Okay.
So, I gave it a fair shot. I've been playing around with it, and yeah, it's a neat little app. It's funny seeing people that by day I got to do this and I got to have the best phone and everything, and then by night they do everything they can to make the pictures look like complete ass.
Right.
But it's the sharing, heck, I've been on there just a couple days, and I'm already interacting with a couple hundred people, so I can see the draw. But yes, as far as filter applications, I mean, this is a very poor representative of that.
Yeah, and there's no reason that would even need to be on a phone. Really, that's the kind of the strange thing,
right? For me,
you could just as easily do it by the web or whatever. But
it's better to have than not, but it's not living up to the hype.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Oh, look, here comes another story of benchmarks on a 1S. How about that? God, I love live podcasts. What else? Anything else going on this week? Still playing Temple Run. You want to do a couple voicemails and we'll call it a week?
Sounds good.
That'll work.
How about we start with... We'll start with... I'm not sure if it's John Paul or Sean Paul.
Hi, this is John Paul in New Orleans. I'm calling for the Android Central podcast. The Sense 4.0 walkthrough Phil did earlier this week was great. Thanks for that. I have a question about Sense 3.6. I have an EVO 3D, and I'm wondering what features I will get, or more importantly, won't get, as compared to the Sense 4.0 OS whenever we get our ICS upgrade. Anyway, if you guys could comment, that'd be great, or maybe do a feature on the site. I love you guys. Site, you do great work. Keep it up. Thanks. Bye.
I tell you, the biggest difference you would notice is it really has more to do with ICS than it does Sense, because it's what you get on these phones is really more ICS than it is Sense. You don't get this feeling that you're not using stock Android anymore. I still feel like I'm using Ice Cream Sandwich when I use this. I don't feel like I'm using a Sense phone. I feel like I'm using an Ice Cream Sandwich phone with these added tweaks. Major changes. Obviously the camera's going to be different. because you're dealing. It doesn't have the image sense, the image chip.
And that's hardware, right? Isn't it?
Right,
as much as anything.
and that's a hardware side as much as anything.
I think if you're talking about features, there's probably not an awful lot. It's mostly just the look, isn't it? In 3.6 to 4.
There's some little things. You do have the same, almost the same dock down at the bottom. The lock screen has been changed up to work the same way, and that's one of the things that I don't like about it actually now. You can't. Before, in previous versions of Sense, you could put whatever apps you want into the lock screen. Now they're slave to whatever's in the dock. I want the camera in the lock screen, but I don't necessarily want it in the dock.
But
I can see why they did that, though, because if you look at where the shortcuts were in Sense 3, they were buried through so many menus that most people would just never find them.
Right. What's that?
So, less customizable, but understandable.
Right.
Jean-Paul's in the chat room. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's asking the update for his EVO 3D. Is it going to get the full Sense 4.0 package?
No.
And we can look at the Vivid to answer that question.
No, I can.
It's going to get a.
I can answer unequivocally. It will not be getting Sense 4.
Yeah.
Not officially. You'll get custom ROMs. There probably are custom ROMs right now.
Yeah, I bet, but not officially. No.
Yeah, not officially.
Yeah, they can't make the UI on your phone change that bad. Oh no, okay, he corrected me. I was absolutely wrong. Feel free to edit the old man out.
But yeah, you're going to get a lot of it, just not everything. You're going to see a lot of little UI tweaks. Is it as good as ICS and Sense 4? No, but nothing is. So enjoy it. That would be my suggestion. Use it and enjoy it. It's a good phone.
And it's still ICS, isn't it?
Right.
The Sense 3.6 update. So.
And finally, we got Jerry.
What?
Not you.
Wake up.
Hi, this is for the Android Central podcast. My name is Jerry. I just read about the Asus 7-inch Nexus tablet. I think that is fantastic. I'm already standing in line waiting for it. This is going to be, I think, what Android really needed, because they have great 10-inch tablets, great 8-inch tablets, but no great 7-inch tablets. So this will blow the market open for Android, and it will, of course, give a run for the money for the other two 7-inch tablets coming from Amazon and the other company. So, fantastic. Great show, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I still stand behind what I've said before, and that I'm sure they're coming out with something. I'm sure the tablet itself is not, again, what does another 7-inch tablet bring to the market that a 7-inch Kindle Fire hasn't already done at $200?
And if it's about getting it in the user's hands, Asus does a much better job of that through Best Buy than Google ever did in their own.
Right.
People are saying that Google's getting involved to try to get it out for users. More users have an Asus laptop than do have a Nexus One, and there's a reason for that. Asus is just better at it, so they didn't need Google's help. I'm curious to see what's going to happen and how this tablet fits in with it.
We'll see. I don't know. There are news stories coming out that it's been delayed to July, which actually fits in with something
Sure.
Digitimes had reported before that I kind of pooped on, remember? But again, that makes sense because I don't think they're going to announce this thing before Google I/O no matter what.
I think they might even announce it at I/O and say you can buy it a week later.
Yeah, they might.
I can see this as something that, everybody here at Google I/O, go get down and get your tablet, and they give us 2 weeks to show it off on the internet and get everybody excited, and then they sell it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that, boys and girls, I think is it. Is it not it? Have we forgotten anything? Chat room, anything you guys want to talk about before we go? I miss the chat room. I shouldn't ignore them so much. We have a love-hate relationship, us in the chat room. No, we're not talking about me candy. Sorry. Jerry will talk about that in a hangout later. The Mayan calendar? No, we will not be talking about the Mayan calendar.
Well, it ended last August, didn't it?
Did I take a new
Forgot
EVO?
about me.
Did I take a new EVO home? No, we do not yet have review units of the EVO. AT&T to unlock iPhones. I saw that. Good on them. They should have done that a long time ago.
Richard, my God, after the podcast is over, Richard, expect a phone call. We don't need tablet apps like the iPad does because we don't have to have specially made tablet apps. We need developers to make the one app they need to make with the correct features.
Do we know EVO pricing? Yes, $200 on contract. Don't know off contract. Go if you haven't seen it. Go dive into the forums because we have this badass EVO 4G LTE forum. In fact, let me look right now because last I checked, I think it was almost the #1 forum already after 24 hours. Let's see. It is currently at it's still at number 2. The Optimus V is still on top. How about that?
Oh, you can't dethrone that phone.
We're going to try.
We own that phone.
Hell no, I'm coming for you. We're absolutely going to do it. In fact, the 1X has already disappeared. Oh, I got to work on that. So, as always, you can email us, podcast@androidcentral.com. You can get us on Twitter @Android Central is the main site. We've been part of Team Android all week, by the way. If you didn't notice, we Instagrammed our logo on there. You can get us all on Twitter as well. Jerry is @GBHill. Alex is on there @AlexDoby. I'm @Phil Nickinson. Google Plus is probably a better place to play with us, though. But we are certainly on Twitter as well. As we are every week, we are brought to you by shopandroid.com. Get them at shopandroid.com because that's their name. It's also the name of the website, shopandroid.com. Or call 888-468-6158. And you can leave us a voicemail like Jean-Paul and Jerry did at that same number, 888-468-6158, extension 222. Jerry, Alex, thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Hopefully we'll have everybody back next week, and we'll go from there. So, for everybody listening live, thank you.
You're
going to pour a what? What are you going to pour?
A bottle of champagne on the curb.
For Corey.
In memory of Corey not being here. And I'll talk about LTE towers for 6 hours.
Corey's just fine. He's just not here.
Oh, yeah, that sounded horrible.
Yes.
Yeah, couldn't make it.
So, everybody listening live, thank you. Everybody listening the recorded version, thank you too. Everybody listening at home, you're badass. Those would also be people listening to the recorded version, I guess. Everybody watching on YouTube, hi. Good to see you. How you doing? That's it. See you next week.
Later on.
See ya.